When you writing a book, Dave?
I'm writing. I also have a book. You know, I have a book called Culture Vultures. Yeah,
what's it called?
It's called Culture Vultures. Have you ever looked at the hip hop motivations that I do?
Yeah, absolutely.
So me and Kenyatta did a book, and it's already written. He wrote it. We done with it, and I'm also giving it out in different ways. So it's gonna be an auditory experience as well.
It's a series. The Fashion Game. Culture Vultures, the book. In business, Dame is a guy that's worn many hats.
We're live. Hip Hop Motivation Live, back at you. Said some great questions. Hopefully y'all got Fashion Game by now and definition of a man, because it's a lot.
What is that? Maybe people don't know what it is.
It's audio experience.
I thought it was
like saying audio book.
Single.
Yeah, singles for the book right before.
Not singles like a strip club, like a
Taha. Yeah, like two songs.
You said Taha.
Two songs.
Can I? Let me do this. Let me open the show up right.
That we're throwing out there before the audio experience drops.
Let me open the show right. Yeah. Today is the anniversary of Biggie.
Absolutely, March 9th.
And I was lucky enough to be friends with him, to be cool with him.
Oh.
You know, sometimes my son Boogie was cool with him. I asked Boogie, I said, yo, you remember hanging out with Biggie Smalls? And he don't remember it. And I'd be like, damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But, I was looking at a couple of clips, and they were putting up on Instagram, and they were putting up Dead Presidents.
Yeah.
And that was like the first day that Biggie and I got really cool. Because we all had this like competition because they were from Brooklyn, and we felt like they were kind of copying us.
Right.
Hey, Rock, you want to turn that off? That thing, because it's gonna be late. I'm sorry. And we still want to keep it on. And we pulled out the Monopoly, we played Monopoly with real money.
Yeah.
And we had ridiculous amounts of champagne. So once he got there, I decided to have a champagne drinking competition with him.
Okay.
And Biggie weighed more than you.
Yeah.
And I'm small, so by the end of that night, I was so drunk, and we were acting like I was all that. End of the night, I'm like, oh Biggie, you my man, and all this other whack shit.
Right.
So they called me, Biggs and Jay called me the next day, and Jay never in life. That was the only time Jay ever disapproved in front of me of what I did. And he was like, yo, you wasn't no good yesterday. That wasn't true. I was like, what? And then Biggs told me what happened. So like that day we went down to Daddy's house, and we're like, look, y'all got me, but let's get back to business.
Right.
And what we used to do was we had hired Biggie to open up, and so we could open up. We hired him to headline so we could open up for him.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what we did. That, and we did it in like New Orleans.
It's a strategy. You hired him to open up so you guys
could open up for him. Yeah. Right. I was on it like that back then. I was on one.
That's a strategy. That's a cold strategy.
I was in that. To me, that business in that moment was like war, and I was a 5-star general doing that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was strategic.
Right.
I had execution. We would sit around every day and talk about what we were gonna do that was better than everyone else. Everything we did was calculated.
Wow.
We knew what our agenda was. We knew and it was innate. We knew the brand that we wanted to build.
Right.
And we were young, so it was like excusable to act a bit irresponsible. Be rock stars, be loud and rowdy, be fresh, laugh a lot, get all the girls, drink all the champagne. I wasn't even smoking weed back then.
Oh, you wasn't even smoking back then?
Nah, I didn't start smoking weed till Big Pimpin'. And the only reason why was because Hype had us in fucking in Trinidad, and there was no champagne out there.
It's like your quote, you said, don't smoke until you make your first million.
Yeah, that's what, until you're comfortable. Because I used to always be paranoid, and I think because I had insecurities, probably about what I was doing. And, once I was feeling safe, and I smoked, and I found that it didn't make me uncomfortable with myself, then I was like, damn. And really what it was it did make me want to go outside. It made me want to chill. So I was a guy that always felt he was missing something, and that's natural for a young man at that age, to always think he's missing something. Even like if I had a girl, I always thought I'd get a better girl, because I haven't experienced everything yet. Sometimes it takes making all the mistakes of experiencing every single thing, bad and good, to know that you're not missing nothing.
Wow.
So once I did that.
So you know that now, of course.
But my point is, it really made me not feel like drinking no more, because drinking makes me want to run around crazy. But weed made me want to just chill. And if I wasn't paranoid, I liked it. And I liked the way it felt when I ate, pause. when I was high.
And you said Biggie was a funny dude. Like he was hilarious.
Biggie was hilarious. He was like a jokester. You know, I like Biggie a lot because he was so into family, meaning like his crew.
Yeah.
So it looked to me like the way he carried his crew was almost the way we carried ours at the time. Yeah, so we always had that, like, we were from an extreme circumstance, we were winning, and we always were like trying to stick together, you know, D-Roc and the C's and all, they was like really my friends. Like we would see each other anywhere around the world and just party.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me they're not my brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You can't tell
So
me.
he just treated everybody in his crew was like real.
He just made sure
respect.
they moved as a unit. You know, they all enjoyed his success. It wasn't just like him winning. He was definitely the breadwinner, but he definitely made sure that C's, Lil Kim, and everyone else around him in the Junior Mafia was all right. They always were in cars. They was always fresh.
Right. They
all lived in the house. You know, whatever big house he was in, they were there. It was a family. That's what I saw.
So he spit your name in that verse.
Oh yeah, that's you know, so much honor in that. Like in the time, it'd be like, what, it took you long enough, nigga. Yeah. But you know, in hindsight, knowing what happened and the tragedy, yeah, the fact that Biggie said my name in a record, that's a big deal. You know, you can't just.
I love the dough.
Yeah, I love the dough. Say my name, I make your dash like damn. The crazy shit was, Biggie's plan was to give like Puff and them 3 more albums, because that's whatever his deal was, and he was gonna come sign with us, and we was gonna do the commission. And we were like looking,
I heard about that.
Yeah, we was looking for like a Charlie Baltimore. It ended up being her, but that wasn't our choice. That was his. But you know, that's what was gonna happen. He was actually gonna come work with us. Or at least that's what was talked about very seriously.
Right.
You know, because I think he owed. That's why he did a double album, right?
Yeah.
Then he was gonna do a triple album, and he was gonna be out his contract, and he was gonna come fuck with us.
Wow.
But you know me, I tried to sign the firm. Yeah, but like Steve Stout snaked us for that.
Try to sign the
I tried back then. I was like, why wouldn't we work together? You know, my mind that
Foxy and then
I was trying to
family,
do all those families. I was like, why don't we get together and do it ourselves? We don't need them. But you know, the grass. I guess how you said, the snow is always colder when it's white or something like that.
Yeah, they say the ice. Some people feel that white people's ice is colder than black people's ice.
And that shit, and that's crazy. But it's just how they've been. You know, they shoved that in our brain.
Wow.
I think Obama being president stopped a lot of that.
Yeah, it definitely
Not for old school,
yeah,
but for the younger millennial generation,
right.
I don't think they see color like that. I think it's just like an old thing.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I definitely agree with that, because I've talked to my daughters, and I know you've talked to yours, and you're seeing that, you're like, wow.
Well, the past 8 years, the most powerful man in the world has been a black man,
right.
And he's only displayed taste. So now the next person up is not a black man, and he's not displaying so much taste. Right. So he really making us look good. The way he's so disrespectful makes Obama's class stand out so much.
Even with his own family.
It's just the way they carry shit, like that's how white people rock. That's the most elite white man in the country. This is where all the white people look at. This is what they think is dope.
Yeah.
And then you look at Obama, chilling and shake paws. You know, he with his family,
with his wife,
he dancing,
romantic for the camera.
But tasteful as fuck. His wife is in shape.
Right.
His wife says the best things. And, you know, they've displayed nothing but class as it relates to how our culture would be perceived.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that may be more impactful than anything is mentality. Right. You know, and I know that it's given us, like, a lot of, I remember growing up and thinking that, damn, he'll never be a black president. Yeah. That's impossible. Can you imagine in the 70s?
I felt that way as well.
Like really acting and feeling like, even though I always knew.
In the 70s, in the 80s, I felt like that as well. Yeah.
But like, even though I knew that I was like, you know, the black thing, and you might think it, but you're not better than me. It was known that we're not supposed to be as good as them. It was accepted. You know, it was all right. And it really took someone, a forward thinker, to be like, get the fuck out of here. You know, that was me. Right. You know what I mean? So, you know, I always welcome racism so I could smack it in the mouth.
And obviously, like you always say, they had a lot to do with your mother's, her doctrine, and how she talked to you about things.
Well, the fact of the matter is, I was raised around white people at a young age, so I was never scared of them.
But you would take you to see Dick Gregory.
But I went to go see Dick Gregory, like in the mix of all that.
Other people.
I saw Jesse Jackson when he was running for president, you know, back before whatever the other shit was. You know, we went into our metaphysical shit. I met Swami Mutananda. You know, I've been a very blessed You know, like people look at it. I met that man. Like he gave me a name. I wish I had that paper, but at the time I didn't know how important it was.
Yeah, because I remember like people used to always ask me about it. Like, yeah, this Dame mom. I know his mom. She used to.
People that
friends with Malachi York and everybody people like that.
She was.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But she was into
and
like
your aunt or someone of your aunts.
Yeah. She was always into trying to learn more and evolve. Yeah. You know, and into the metaphysics, and then just depending on what was going on in her life, sometimes she'd be a real hardcore Christian.
She used to share a lot of that stuff with you.
Everything. I was a little man. Like I was a single. She was a single mom.
Right.
So I was educated so many different ways, in so many different dialects, in so many different countries. But I ended up back in Harlem. Not that it's a bad thing, but when crack came out, so I also was into legendary. Wanting to make money on my own and be independent. Like when I went uptown for the first time, it was lawless. You did whatever you wanted to do despite what the police said. You just was not trying to get caught.
Right.
Like breaking the law was like an everyday thing.
That went on every day. Like
it was. You definitely was breaking the law every day, but not in a way where you felt like a criminal. You just felt like, just because it's your law, don't make it the right law.
Those 80s, LA, Harlem, shit all over in the 80s. It was just in the 90s. It was crazy, man.
Yo, this is Kenyatta with Hip Hop Motivation. First of all, I want to tell everybody out there, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to our YouTube page. And if you haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to our YouTube page, make sure you do so. Stay in tune. We have a lot more to come. Peace. Deciding from thoughts of being sick and tired of something, starting something, or admiring something can be the emotions that fuel change. Because write this down. Emotion leads to passion, passion leads to action, and action leads to results. Word up. Question: what's the #1 killer of dreams? If you said fear, you're wrong. Fear is on the list, but it's not the #1 killer. The #1 killer of dreams is comfort. The comfort of a good paying job or in an active relationship can seduce us for many years into the rhythm of accepting things without making any moves to change, further numbing us into a state of zombie-like passiveness. Write this down. Passiveness will cause your dreams to pass you by.
Dash thing. Nah, I don't want to chill out, bro. You know what I want to do? Believe in yourself. Build your own personal wealth. Then that becomes personal health. Think I'm rhyming. How about that?
Everything go down here. Just gotta, be a little smart.
I see you grooving right now.
I was in my groove.
Yeah.
I started daydreaming. I started thinking about something. I'm
I'm a musician.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to spend all kinds of money. I like the dollar, I like the euro, I like the pound, I like the franc pause, I like the yen.